Hey, welcome back. Welcome to a model a day on May the 4th, Star Wars Day. I'm not actually doing a Star Wars model today. I'm actually doing an old-fashioned go board. So this is going to be a kind of pet project of mine. I'm using it in one of my other courses on Udemy, which you can find in the description in this video. Essentially, I'm going to do what I did yesterday. I'm going to add in more time lapses, cut more stuff out, and try and get these videos down a lot faster and a lot shorter. I'm going to cut out quite a lot of the texturing stuff, but at the very end, I'm just going to briefly go over some of that texturing workflow as we look at the final renders. I did go a little bit overboard with this one, and you'll see that at the end. So let's actually just work on the leg now. So I'm actually going to add in a cylinder. We're going to add in an 8-sided cylinder, and I said it should be about 7.5, so that's about 0.75. Actually, not 0.75 in the radius, it should be 0.75 in the depth. Let's just zoom out a little bit and see where we're at. So depth should be, it would be 0.075, I guess. The scale is actually throwing me off just a little bit. Radius, obviously, much too big. Let's make these quite chunky, so maybe about here. I'm just going to isolate these so I can work on my own. Okay, so the profile on these is, it's kind of pretty obvious what the profile here is. It's a hexagon. Starts at the top, goes down a little bit, curves in, gets to a certain point, curves back out, goes out, has a little lip, and curves out again. So it's essentially a pretty simple shape. What I'm going to do is I'm going to add in a subdivision surface modifier. We'll do a couple of subdivisions. I'm going to go to edit mode, and I'm essentially just going to start with the very top edge loop. And what that will let me do is it will just let me get a nice tight edge on the top, so I know exactly where I'm starting. Look, this looks as if it's about halfway up, so I'll add one in here. I'm going to bevel this out just a little bit, and then I'm going to scale it. I'm going to scale in quite a bit, so maybe to about here. Add another edge loop in near the top, and then move this down and start to get in that shape. So maybe around about here. I'm going to add another one in here, and I'm just going to kind of bulge this out a little bit so that it matches the reference just a little bit better. I also have to add in another edge loop here, and that way I get a straight portion here, because I do feel that that's a little bit straighter than I was originally getting. Now we have to bulge this out again, so I'll take that to about there, start scaling this out, move this up a little bit and scale this out, and I'm kind of just working again just by eye. I'm not obviously using any dimensions or anything here. Let's add in another edge loop, scale this way down, and grab this bottom one and scale this in. Okay, grab this and just move this down a little bit. Okay, so not quite got the shape that we're going for. Okay, maybe add another one in here and scale this out just a little bit. Like I said, I'm really just kind of doing this by eye, just trying to get a feel for it and see what I can manage. So I think that's actually not too terrible. Having a little trouble grabbing these edges in here. Just grab those. I'm going to scale these in Z just to bring these out, because I kind of do feel that this portion is getting quite flat. Let me just go back to solid mode and maybe get a better understanding of this. Just tweak my clipping so I can zoom right in and see what's happening. Okay, this edge here I want to bevel. I want to take the outer one and this next one and move them down. And then I want to add in a little edge loop here so I can get a nice lip. And it kind of feels like after that lip, this actually starts going up again. I think I'll actually just move that up and we'll add in another edge loop here. And this kind of edge loop modeling is quite interesting. You can get some quite nice organic shapes out of this. This one here, I think I'll bevel because I'm not getting quite what I want. Let's look at this profile again. So these definitely need to be further out. That's nicer. And maybe one more here. And a little edge loop in here. Scale this out. Now the bottom should be kind of flat, I would say. Let's take that to about there. Scale this out a fair bit. And bring this down. Maybe scale this just another little bit. And I think that's kind of the overall shape I want. Okay, so the next thing I have to do is let's shade this smooth so we can get a better idea of this shape. Now, obviously at the moment, because we've got the subdivision surface, we've lost the whole hexagon arrangement of this. That's absolutely fine. What we do is we just select all these edges. And we want these to be quite tight, so we're going to bevel these with 2 segments and we're going to keep them quite tight. And then we're going to do an edge loop up the middle of each of these. And just do that really fast, Control R to add an edge loop in. Okay, just make sure I've not made any mistakes anywhere. And again, I'm just going to use Alt and Shift to select all these edge loops that I've just created. Okay, perfect. What I do want to do is I want the... essentially, I'm going to make this little curve and I want them to kind of fade off here and here in the middle. So the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to change to vert mode. I'm going to go into my front view, transparent mode. And actually, let's go in the top view. I'm going to use circle select. I'm going to use the middle mouse button and I'm just going to basically deselect this middle section here. Actually, I'll deselect everything in this middle section here. And if you look at this, we've basically deselected all the edges here and here. Now if you go into your top view, we should be able to scale this down. We're going to hit Shift Z, so it's only scaling in the Z plane. We should be able to get a nice shape going here. So let's look at this in object mode now. And, you know, I don't know about you, but that looks pretty close to the reference. I think if there's any issue that I have with it, this bottom is not flat enough. We can certainly sort that out. We'll just box select the entire thing here. And we're going to scale this on Z, flatten that out, and bring it up a little bit. This edge, I think, also needs to be brought up just slightly. And I'll maybe scale this one out a little bit. Okay, so it is kind of hard to tell the shape in some of the views. I think maybe I also want to add in, I'm just going to hide this in the viewport at the moment. I'm just going to add in another little detail in here. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to, I'm just going to basically add in another little ridge in the middle here. So I'm going to scale this in the XY plane by hitting Shift Z. And that way I get another nice little inset there. I'm going to add in some control loops just to tighten this all up. And sometimes I kind of find it easier to add these control loops in when I'm in solid mode. Let's see, I think I maybe want another control loop around about here. And let's have a look at what this will look like. I actually don't mind that. I think it needs to be wider, and I think I need to bring in some of this, some of the little curve. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the top view, transparent mode, deselect everything, circle select everything in the center area, go to the front view and deselect everything in the bottom area. I'm going to scale this out. Oh, wrong button there. Scale, Shift C, so it only scales. And the XY axis. And I'm just going to grab the edges I need to grab here. I'm going to go back to solid mode. So it's these center edges I need to grab. There should be 8 of them. Remember, you can always count how many edges and faces and things you have selected in the bottom corner here. It's always very useful. I'm going to add a little bit of proportional editing to this. I'm going to scale these down again in the XY axis by using Shift C. Just roll our mouse wheel. We get that shape that we want. Okay, so this is a little bit subtler than the other places. Still want it to show up, so there we go, something like that. Go back to object mode. And I think that's pretty good. This is a bit tight though. Let's adjust this edge loop here. Bring this up a little bit. Maybe add one in the middle. And scale this out a little bit to kind of keep that curve. Maybe grab this one and move this down a little bit. Actually, I think I might get rid of this one altogether. Just dissolve that edge. Maybe grab this one and move this down a little bit. So it's just tweaking this shape, just trying to get it the way you want it. No right or wrong answers here, just have a go, see what you can do. And yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. So let's unhide everything, go to our front view, and we're going to move this into place. Okay, now for the actual board itself. So, you know, obviously we're just going to apply a bevel modifier onto that. It's just a cube, so there's no point getting too fancy with this. We'll just apply a bevel modifier and we'll add like 5 segments or so. It is quite a well engineered piece, so it's going to have quite sharp edges. So that's actually pretty good. And now essentially all we need to do is unwrap this. So we're going to go to edit mode, select all, UV, we're going to smart UV project this. These feet here, we are going to do the feet in generated mode or object mode. So they're going to be procedurally done, and that should work out fine. Let's go to shading. Okay, so I skipped the texturing part of this just because this is supposed to be a modeling exercise, but I do want to go over the textures just quickly. So the way I did this was I have the object as it is with an additional layer on the top, and what essentially I've done is I've created the same material twice as a board material, which is essentially just wood. A little adjustment to the diffuse map to create a bump map to just give it a little bit of the grain straight into a principled BSDF node. Let me just make all this a little bit bigger so you can see. And then I have another material which is essentially the same as it was before, but it also has this brick texture which creates the grid. Now what I did was I created a grid so it was in essentially the right place. It was a little bit off with 18 by 18. And then essentially what I had to do was I had to go in edit mode and basically just grab edges, for example here, and basically just move it a little bit on each axis just so the grid basically fit perfectly into place. And you can see I just need a little bit of adjustment on some of these edges here. So I'll just do that now. Let's see, this should be on Y. And you can see I can just get that grid right into position. And a little adjustment here. So hopefully that gives you a little indication. Now you can see as I move that, it does stretch the wood texture just a little bit, but it's not really enough to make much of a difference. So I have the wood texture as before with the other material and the brick texture, and I just need to apply that in with a mix node into the base colour. So we get the mix of that. I also need to invert it, so the white areas are going to be the less glossy areas, and apply that on top of just another mix node for the roughness, so the black lines don't shine. They'll be full of dirt and grime and things like that. They just won't be as shiny. And again, I have to add those lines in to the normal map so they appear indented. And I can make adjustments in here. For example, I can smooth out the edges of those lines and make the lines appear wider or deeper, or have a little bevel on the end, which is awesome. That's exactly what I want. I can change the size of the mortar and things like that. I have quite a lot of control by doing that procedurally. For example, if I'd went into Photoshop and just applied a grid on top of a wooden material, I wouldn't be able to do any of that. Let's go back to object mode and just kind of show you that there. Now I've used the same material for the rest of the box on the feet. The feet in this case have just had some of the settings here changed. I've actually, instead of applying this as flat, I've applied it as sphere, just because I felt that this gave the best look. You could also try box mapping this, which also looks pretty good, and you can tweak the blending. Tube didn't really work the way I wanted it to. I did also go in and tweak the scale a little bit here. That seems to have changed slightly. That should be 222. And essentially that's just the textures on that. I'm just going to go into the origin here, create a mesh. Yeah, let's go with a UV sphere first of all and see if we can get a good way of doing it. Now there's going to be a lot of these counters. 32 is probably overkill. I think 24 will allow us to do what we want without too many polys and without any faceting showing up. We can always subdivide them later if we need to. Number of rings I'm going to take down to 8 though. Actually, maybe we do need it. That is 16. And the radius is going to be 0.0225. Let's zoom in on that. Let's look in our view. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure the origin of this object is actually at its bottom point. So I'm going to do that by going to edit mode, selecting all, moving this up until that's sitting there. And then I'm going to scale on the 3D cursor. I'm going to scale in Z, take that down to this point. And I'm going to make this be about, but let's go 10 mil high. I did read on the Wikipedia page that you can get them that are 10 mil high, so we'll go with that. Go to object mode, let's smooth shade that. And there we have our whole piece. Now that actually looks far too big. I think we've done the same thing we did before and we've actually made it 10 times bigger than it should be. Do you know what? Let's just scale it based on the dimensions that we can kind of ascertain from here. So they essentially should fit. So if they're in the board, yeah, it should be half the size essentially. So let's go to scale and just change this to 0.5. We'll zoom in. It's sitting on the table quite nicely. We'll have to go in and apply scale and rotation. And I kind of feel like I should scale it down just a little bit more. We don't want to scale it to the 3D cursor this time, we'll scale to median point. Okay, so sorry for that abrupt ending there, but that was pretty much the end of the modelling. So here are the final renders I came up with. This is a close-up, and one thing I want to point out here is somehow I accidentally forgot to add subdivision surface onto the black counters, but surprisingly they actually show up pretty well compared to the white ones. So you can see on the feet here, the feet actually turned out pretty good. You'll also notice that I've actually changed some of the textures here. I actually found some much nicer textures on textures.com, and I also unwrapped the table again because I made a mess the first time, and actually now I'm noticing that the grain is running up and down on one side instead of left to right. You can also see a bit of the background that I created. I went a little bit overboard on this, and on this third render you can see that I've actually created some tatami mats and some of the kind of classic Japanese sliding doors with the paper inserts. Now they don't look that great because I didn't work on them for very long. I just wanted something to kind of ground the scene. I didn't want to just render this table on black. So I guess I'll see you all tomorrow. I'm going to finish this off by doing the little pots that the counters go in, and that's pretty much going to be this scene finished.